Just brilliant once again. Rachel Sermanni live in session with Big Desire. So, Rachel, we mentioned earlier that it's a blue moon outside.
Yeah.
And whilst you were listening to the sound check that you'd done earlier with Johnny Esp, thanks very much, Johnny, and to Mark while we're at it, Mark Plant, I went out to have a look at it. And then it was so breathtaking, I came in and I just said, there's a blue moon out there, and I think if you get the time, you should probably go and see it. And one of your lovely entourage said, oh, you've done your research on Rachel Sermanni. So that leads me to believe that you are, kind of immersed in nature.
That's nice. Yeah, I mean, I do love the moon. And I seem to, though I was like shocked when you said it was, because I hadn't realised today was full moon era,
right?
But usually I know these things. I'm on with those things. So yeah, I think definitely it is. I don't know. I like that as a calendar, as like something to sort of mark out time.
Right, okay.
I think it's lovely.
All right, you are wearing a watch as well, are you? No, you're not.
Nope.
Actually, it's a bangle. Right.
No. Yeah, well, that would be really cool if I could like properly tell the time by the moon. That would be. I'm
sure. Do you know what? I tell you what. I bet there's an app that you can get on your phone that lets you know when it's a full moon.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. There's plenty of apps. Yeah, and yeah, it's a magic thing. It's it's very enticing.
I just sent a photograph back home to my lot, just to go and have a look at it, and they can't see it from where they are. So we were quite lucky on that bridge over there. So back to you then, Rachel. So you grew up in the Highlands. Mm-hmm. Whereabouts exactly?
So Aviemore, if anybody knows where Aviemore is, or like if you're going to, if you know where Inverness is, it's like half an hour south of Inverness, in this beautiful sort of area, which is like a very old mountain range called the Cairngorms. And yeah, like as I've grown up and travelled and just been an older human, I recognise how sort of lucky I was to have that place to grow up.
Do you still live there, or have you moved elsewhere?
Yeah, I live about half an hour outside of Edinburgh now.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
And so I have got this romantic notion, probably well wide of the mark, that growing up in such a place is really steeped in music, and nearly everyone can play an instrument, and they all get to the pub together and get better at these instruments and play folk songs. Is that me absolutely talking rubbish?
That totally exists in some parts. Wouldn't you say, like, I'm just turning to bandmates and we're all nodding to ourselves? I don't think that, like, where I was from, which is like Strathspey area, it's got like there's a vein of traditional music, for instance, that was like I got like opportunities to be taught some of that, but it wasn't like, I feel like on the West Coast and on the islands you have those sort of people who seem to have been like born with a fiddle in their hands, right. That kind of thing, and it wasn't really quite like that where we were, but there was still I guess like there's a fortune in the culture up there, in that there's a lot to offer in terms of just literally just traditional music. There was some of that available.
Okay. And what episode was it that made you think to yourself, actually I can do this, I might be able to do this for the rest of my life? I loved writing poems, and then like in early teens it was like we learnt the guitar. My dad's friend taught me Stairway to Heaven. That was my entry point, and then sort of pairing the poems and the learning of chords together. And I do have, like, when I was leaving school, I'd sort of written out, like, I found like a notebook that was like, I'll go to Glasgow and I'll just try and do music. I'll just try and make a thing of like writing songs, or I don't know what else. I think I said something like I'll be a tramp of sorts, and so it kind of worked out both ways, because like now I don't move around so much, but I definitely tramped around from then. I played lots of music and travelled around playing that music. So yeah, it felt like both things
But it wasn't fully conscious. It was like more just like, let's hope and see.
You just didn't want to get a proper job.
I didn't want a proper job, and I didn't think that university was going to work out for me either. So I just I think it was almost like maybe a lucky situation where I didn't have any self-confidence in my abilities to like do further education. So I was like, just go and do all the open mic nights that you can.
Follow your heart, and
Yeah.
if you know, I mean, obviously, I'm not just saying this. 'Cause you're playing for us live now, and it's been wonderful thus far, and will continue to be so, I'm sure. It's funny you should mention poetry and Stairway to Heaven, because there is that line, or those couple of lines within that. If there's a bustle in your hedgerow, don't be alarmed now. It's just a spring clean for the May Queen, which Robert Plant, as I understand it, hates. And he's embarrassed by, and no longer does Stairway to Heaven because he can't stand the lyrics. You've got to be very careful when you marry them together. That is all I'm saying. And so you spent some time in a Buddhist monastery.
Mm-hmm. That was, we were literally talking about that. That was a good while ago, probably like a little bit over 5 years ago. I'd been doing the tramping and touring a lot, and reached a point of exhaustion and needed a wee break. And in the borders of Scotland, there's this Tibetan monastery called Sami Ling, and it's headed there, volunteered at the cafe there, and sort of steeped myself in the study of Tibetan Buddhism, and it was really like so rejuvenating, and it was lovely to actually have an ordinary job and to get up exactly the same time and go to bed early. Like it was just it did a good thing for my adrenals, I think, and general sort of sense of steadiness.
I mean, by your comparison, it is a proper job. It's to most people, working in a cafe in a Buddhist monastery is not. But I mean, most people are knackered after having been playing for endless time. They would go to centre parks.
Right.
So I applaud you. It's brilliant. It's just a great story. And then you went, conversely, you went to Berlin, which is a bustling city, of course. And so I believe that a big kind of moment in your life was the birth of your daughter, Rosa.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Is that right? Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, and that informed some of your following work, didn't it? Like the new album, we've got Dreamer Awake is your new record.
Yeah, right, totally. And I feel like, that marked a very different phase in life, a more static one, and learning how to be still more. Like this album, in a way, like it's a very, in my head, it's sort of like, it goes down. It's like, as a concept, it's like a descent. And I feel like a lot of like my experience with becoming, like having Rosa and becoming a mother, and it's funny because I'm sort of in third trimester world now, so
I noticed your guitar was quite far away. Yeah. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks very much. But like what phase I'm in right now is just feels like I'm just going like into, like I'm not very good at articulating myself anymore. Not that I'm a good waffler, but it's like my whole like sort of conscious way of thinking or being is like going into my body. And I think a lot of this album was the exploration of sort of going like in and down a little bit. And I don't know if that makes any sense, but that is kind of what the album is for me. It's kind of that, which somehow relates to a lot of my experience of motherhood and having Rosa and all those.
Yeah, I mean, becoming a parent does change you anyway. There's no doubt about it, is there? Okay.
Yeah.
And
totally.
So, before we get to more music, I believe you run a workshop, songwriting workshop.
Yeah.
So will you teach me how to write some songs then?
Sure.
Great.
No problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
Brilliant. All right then. So you've got 2 more songs to do for us. If I have a hit with any of them, I'll give you some royalties.
Oh,
That's
great.
the kind of guy I am. So you're going to do 2 tunes back to back now then. So what the tunes in the right order?
Yeah, in the right order. So we're going to do, the first one's called True Love, Let's Go. Not with a comma, just True Love, Let's Go. You don't want to be like True Love, Let's Go, because that's what somebody thought, and I thought that was brilliant. True Love, Let's Go, and then Killer Line to follow.
Brilliant. All right then. So Rachel Sermanni live in session.